sake. Oh, I'm fucking shitting myself.
Don't forget, some things mustn't be forgotten. The shadow hunting me. I must hurry. My name is Daniel. I live in London at
Where
Mayfair.
Avenue?
What have I done? This is crazy. Don't forget. Don't forget. I must stop him. Focus. My name is...
Shit.
I am Daniel.
Fuck you, Daniel.
Hi, my name is Thomas Grip, and I'm one of the co-founders of Frictional Games. I worked with engine code, gameplay code, design, and many other things for Amnesia. In my commentaries, I will mainly focus on the design behind the different parts of the game. I hope you'll enjoy them. The name of this level is Rainy Hall, and it's supposed to be a combination of atmosphere setter and tutorial for the player. We wanted the player to start the game in a slow way so they could settle in and get used to how the game works. Amnesia is not a game with constant action happening all the time, and we wanted to have a constrained map where the player gets used to this. The only thing you need to do is to follow the track and get to the end of the level. Also, following tracks is something that becomes very useful in later levels, so we try to teach players this from the start.
Oh shit. What the fuck is going on here? Nate Garley leg. Oh no. No, stop this. Stop it. What the fuck is that? Stop being odd. There's a prick in there. Taking this fucking broom. Okay. Any shit floating around there? Shit. On a 10. I don't trust these bricks. What the fuck is that? Okay, I get it. Some fat cunt walking above me. Oh. Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck? No. 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 No, 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 no. No, no, no. No. Hello? This fella makes too many fucking sounds. For watching, comment. Let me know there's someone fucking there, will you please? The fuck was that? Nah, I'm not fucking with that one. We got the fucking Rainbow Six Siege lean. Oh, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Please comment.
This is one of the first level that we created for the game, and it was initially part of the archives level, which we will reach in a bit. Amnesia started out with a pretty different design, and when we redesigned it the maps did not fit. This caused us to split them up and scatter them out. So in the first design, after this corridor, the archives level was supposed to follow, and the room lying there now was built much later. In fact, the first designs did not have Daniel waking up with an amnesia at all, and it was actually added later on.
Oh shit.
In the first two story map, Daniel still had hidden memories, but he was unaware of this at the start of the story. However, as we redesigned things, we found the waking up with amnesia thingy, although a bit cliché, much more fitting.
No, you need to fuck off now with this shit. You're a prick. 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 Fuck yourself. Fuck yourself. Fuck yourself. Oh. Pull out a match or something, brother. Stop.
Hi there, my name is Visual. I'm mostly a software programmer, JavaScript at times, and perhaps the main reason why the rest of the core team at fictional games is pretty much forced to speak English at our internal meetings, as I am the only non-Swede here. Now, what a Spaniard is doing with a bunch of Swedish guys is a whole different story we won't be discussing today. By the way, I will be talking mostly about tools and scripting. Hope you like it. The editors themselves went through a lot of design changes during the development. Not that many in visual appeal as in internal stuff, like data structures and handling. This happened mostly because at the beginning we only knew the basic stuff that needed to be in them, and as they grew in features and functionality, they started to kind of fall apart,
jump back into
mostly due to my big lack of previous experience in projects like this. Right now, aloud, what the hell still sounds in my head when I look at some parts of the code, but I am still proud of them. They can also get a bit buggy at times, but hopefully this won't happen again in the future, and I already got some nice ideas for the next iteration of the tool.
There's no need to stop fucking... Give me a key. Give me a fucking key. Oh. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then we know it, prick. What the fuck is in there, my Jesus? Oh shit. The fuck? The fucking door, prick.
The editors themselves went through a lot of design changes during the development. Not that many in visual appeal as in internal stuff, like data structures and handling. This happened mostly because at the beginning we only knew the basic stuff that needed to be in them, and as they grew in features and functionality, they started to kind of fall apart, mostly due to my big lack of previous experience in projects like this. Right now, aloud, what the hell still sounds in my head when I look at some parts of the code, but I am still proud of them. They can also get a bit buggy at times, but hopefully this won't happen again in the future, and I already got some nice ideas for the next iteration of the tools.
This fellow's near prick. If I can't even fucking do the first level, what am I gonna do? You know what I mean? Is there something that I'm missing? There's no point in all these fucking sounds, right? Because I don't care anymore. Why not scared? Diaries, no diaries. Follow the liquid trail. I'll find this one. Oh, wonderful. Much better. There's no need for all the shaking.
Hello everyone, my name is Mikael, and I'm the writer for Amnesia, The Dark Descent.
Yeah.
I think we can all feel the story kick-starting as we finish the letter from Daniel. The game itself is just filled with confusion, and I think we're really doing the player a service keeping it simple in the beginning. Basically try to take your revenge on Alexander, that is the premise of the game. You don't really need to dive any deeper than that, but hoping that the player will care about the story, they have the entire game in front of them to decide if they think killing Alexander is justified or not.
Why is it so dark in here, bro?
19th of August, 1839. I wish I could ask how much you remember. I don't know if there will be anything left after I consume this drink. Don't be afraid, Daniel. I can't tell you why, but know this. I choose to forget. Try to find comfort and strength in that fact. There is a purpose. You are my final effort to put things right. God willing, the name Alexander of Brandenburg still invokes bitter anger in you. If not, this will sound horrible. Go to the inner sanctum, find Alexander, and kill him. His body is old and weak, and yours, young and strong. he will be no match for you. One last thing. A shadow is following you. It's a living nightmare, breaking down reality. I have tried everything, and there is no way to fight back. You need to escape it as long as you can. Redeem us both, Daniel. Descend into the darkness where Alexander waits and murder him. Your former self, Daniel.
Okay then. Men done smashed all my shit up, but here we go. What? I'm fucking... I'm fucking man.
Hello, my name is Mark Nikander. I'm a 3D artist and level creator at fictional games. I started out as a helper during Penumbra Overture, and I was finally hired as a full-time artist in the later part of Penumbra Black Plague.
I don't believe I have. Is it connected to the... what did you call it?
The inner sanctum. My most precious chamber.
The entrance hall was first shown in our first gameplay trailer, and while the layout hasn't changed much, the details certainly have. We build our levels from sets of pieces, in this case, the castle-based set. While the carefully planned set pieces made level building very easy, the levels became very similar and we had to make special pieces to the levels. Now, 1.5 years later, the special pieces make up about half of the pieces in the castle-based set, and we made changes to incorporate these objects into the earlier levels. An example of this can be seen if you compare the hole in the roof now with the one from the first trailer. The new roof was made in the middle of the project when we built level 9 Back Hall. A special version was made to give the roof hole in the entrance hall more depth and detail.
Oh. It's not a prototype. You fucking hissing at me at all, prick. Standing on the neck. Yes, we go down here.
This is one of the many hub levels in the game, and this is a design concept that we started out with in Penumbra. The idea is to give the player some freedom on where to go, but at the same time give a clear objective. In this level, the slime obstacle is the thing that the player needs to get past, and all other levels then have things needed to do so. The slime itself is one of the few puzzles left from the initial designs, and the one I'm probably the least proud of. Now that slime appears all around,
Scattered throughout the game, you can see some signs written in Latin. The reason for using it is that it was considered a language of culture and science, as most scientific and philosophy authors wrote their works and treatises in it. As we are dealing with a castle dwelled by a pretty smart guy that has been around since the Renaissance period, Latin all around the place was something we should expect. Being the only guy in the team that had a direct contact with Latin, in high school to be more precise, well, it was kind of logical that any translation to be done would have my name on it. Translating stuff into Latin was kind of strange and fantastic to do. At first I had a classic Latin dictionary, so if I had to translate any modern term, I would have to track its etymology.
Pause this, 1 sec. So what the fuck is... Give me 1 sec now. Okay. Get this shit up. Get our sanity back.
particle editor is also a fine part of the tool bundle, and it is what we use to create particle effects for maps and events. We use particles to do nice effects like the flames in torches and the smoke that comes out from them. All we have to do is add one or more particle emitters, set up some parameters like starting position and speed, on all sorts of fadings in size, color or speed. It's funny how you can simulate all kinds of effects with such simple elements. I very much recommend you to try it yourself.
Read that shit. Like prick.
There should be more coop rats. Let me see. And one part aquafortis.
Bro, I didn't give a shit about that. Four different. So fucking walking around, right, prick? Give a shit about you. Here. My shit's gonna get raided and they're giving you a raid for it. Stop. I need that shit. Down to this prick. Well, Mary. Lock them without a key. What else is fucking new? Shit is still there. Open that door. Stairs, I guess. No shit, man, this big fucking yawn. Just smash it. Oh no, stop this shit, please.
16th of May, 1839. The unflinching African sun has continued to plague our expedition, making it impossible to dig until dusk. How Professor Herbert managed to find the location in these vast plains of nothingness remains a mystery to me. When I asked him about the tomb again, he told me about the legend of Tin Hanan, the mother of us all. An interesting story in its own right, but I can't help feeling there's more. Later that evening, we uncovered a passage beneath the dunes leading to a sand-covered stone structure. The professor was confident it was the tomb we sought and ordered the others to clear the way late into the dark, cold night. Tomorrow, I shall lead the men into the ancient structure, hoping to reach the burial chamber. No matter what the professor is keeping from me, the dig should yield something interesting to take back to London and the British Museum.
Alright, sanity, hang on. Welcome to the stream. What's going on? This game is scaring the shit out of me.
To finish this little overview of our tools, another piece of the toolset is the model editor, used to create the entities you are interacting with while playing. Basically, we take a model and set up some parameters like physical bodies, joints, and user-defined variables. We can also attach sub-entities to them, like lights, particle systems. When an entity is finally set up, it is ready to be placed in a level using the level editor. Examples of entities here are doors, lamps, most furniture, critters.
Some prick is humming.
17th of May, 1839. My hands tremble as I write.
Knocked open.
I feel a need to document my tribulation, for I fear that my memory will fail me if I linger. Today, I took some men and ventured into the dark, ancient passage we uncovered. Our torches burned faintly in the murky air as we slowly made our way underground. The men were superstitious and fearful. They argued loudly, and I felt their strange language getting to me. I mustered my strength and yelled at them to continue down the slopes and broken steps. The crudely carved passage confused me. It looked much older than the 4th century structure we had expected. The twisting path emerged into a great antechamber. The walls were lined with statues unlike any I'd ever seen. Despite their unearthly quality, I felt a strange familiarity toward them, which haunts me still. At the far end of the chamber, a great slab of stone sealed off whatever lay ahead. I gave the order to raise it, and as I pushed through the narrow space, the heavy stone suddenly dropped, sealing me inside. I was trapped.
This level was changed a lot, and I think it's one of the most tweaked levels that we got. Not only was it part of the big archives level that we had to split up, but it was also hard to get it engaging enough. The problem here is that we don't have any sort of fun mechanic that we rely on to make the game engaging. Instead, we rely on story, atmosphere, and environments. This is true for many other levels and the game as a whole, but these were kind of the one of the larger levels that we made, and also one that didn't have much puzzles and such. So when testing it, we quickly get bored with it, and we wanted to add more spooky events to spice it up. But then later on, testing proved that these events weren't that necessary, and we also felt that they were a bit lame and not fitting, so we decided to remove them. Then the back part of the level, we wanted to make that a more linear experience, with the current player getting trapped and all, forcing the player to solve the destroy wall and find secret door puzzles. Previously, testers often missed that they can solve these problems. The level is now very different from the early designs.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No way. Was that the door or was that the brick? Breakable by hand, I just snapped it in half with my fingers. Fucking book, I don't read books. I'm dead. Oh, I'm dead. I'm dead. Don't look.
17th of May, 1839. After pounding the unforgiving stone wall for what seemed like an eternity, I realized it was hopeless. I was trapped. I fell to the ground, gasping for air, trying to focus. That's when I saw a faint blue shimmer. My weakened body was heavy to carry, but I managed to push myself toward the enchanting light. It was waiting for me. Enclosed in dark nothingness, I felt myself drawn to the mystic light. I reached out, closing it in my hands. The faint glow escaped my fingers and began to spark brightly and spirit me away, unlocking alien memories of spiraling towers, endless deserts, and impossible geometry. The next thing I can remember is the grating sound of stone being lifted, the voices of the Arabs pulling me to safety, and grasped firmly in my hands was the broken pieces of a most peculiar relic.
Yeah, that should do.
You have to be swift when you activate the first one. You hear that? If it stops, you'll have to start over.
Isn't all this a bit excessive?
You can never be too careful, Daniel.
Oh, okay. What's that? I hear movement. There's one there. Okay. the humming. Stop it. Nah. Williams said I don't know about that. Safe. Let's get the fucking shit on. I'm guessing we have to follow Fat John. He's gone. No. Stop. Alright guys, I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for follows, for the views. Talk to you guys next time. Good luck.